And here we are in Variety, August the 4th, 2026. Spider-Man Brand New Day crosses $1 billion in 6 days. Second fastest movie to hit the milestone. I imagine that Endgame is the biggest. Sony and Marvel's comic book adventure, starring Tom Holland as the web-slinging hero, notched the milestone after 6 days of release. Only 2019's superhero epic Avengers Endgame, which captured a stunning $1.2 billion worldwide in its opening weekend. Brand New Day has earned $407 million. These are crazy amounts of money to do this quickly in North America after 4 days of release. The fastest film to surpass $400 million domestically. Overseas, the newest Spider-Man has amassed $645.8 million to date. I mean, people love Spider-Man. With euphoric word of mouth, euphoric, I like that word, and minimal competition in the weekends ahead, Spider-Man Brand New Day will quickly climb to $2 billion, a metric that only 7 other movies have ever achieved, and should rank among the highest grossing films of all time by the end of its theatrical run. So I imagine that the yardstick to beat is probably No Way Home. I did not expect Endgame's domestic record to be beat, but I couldn't be happier that it was beat this past weekend by our 38th MCU movie. Producer and Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige told Variety. It's overwhelming, frankly, to find ourselves in this position on a Monday morning in the very best way. Well, technically it's an MCU movie, but really it's kind of a Sony movie, so Kevin Feige is putting his best face on for this. Marvel will build on the triumph of Brand New Day with Avengers Doomsday. Again, Brand New Day is a Sony film. It is technically in the MCU, but it's a Sony film. Feige notes that Brand New Day's outside success bodes very well for upcoming MCU adventures. When a shared universe works, he said, these are the results. Okay, so on the one hand, I think he is, like I say, putting his best face on it. This is a Sony movie. Sony are making most of the money. Sony is a Spider-Man character. However, this is the box office in the US, I guess, for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Endgame at the top, obviously. US domestic box office, $858 million. Spider-Man No Way Home, second, $804 million. Most of the movies on here, in the top 10 at least, are pre-Endgame. Deadpool and Wolverine, I mean, people like Hugh Jackman, people like the character of Wolverine, so that's why that was so successful. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness as well. So I believe that after No Way Home came out, the next MCU movie was Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So that did kind of get a boost from No Way Home. So maybe what Kevin Feige is saying is that he expects that now that a Spider-Man movie has done really well, the next movie that comes out will get a bump from that. And the next movie is Doomsday. So perhaps that's what he's saying, if you wanted to be generous. But it's not just Spider-Man. I think we've seen generally that people do actually like going to the movies. Again, in Variety, August the 2nd, Spider-Man Brand New Day and the Odyssey power the biggest collective weekend in box office history, $430 million. People like going to the cinema. They just want to go and see good movies. They want to go and see Spider-Man. They want to go and see Chris Nolan movies if there's a particular director that they like. So I'll skip past the stuff about Spider-Man. The Odyssey continues to shatter expectations too. Christopher Nolan's Greek epic, with no Greeks, has generated a remarkable $911 million worldwide after 3 weekends in theatres. I mean, Chris Nolan, hugely popular and in other ways quite a niche director. It's poised to imminently cross the $1 billion mark, underscoring Nolan's ability to transform his movies into cultural events. The Odyssey will soon surpass The Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises as the director's highest grossing film of all time. Not bad for an adaptation of a nearly 3,000-year-old poem. Personally, I haven't been to see The Odyssey. I think Christopher Nolan doing fantasy is not a particularly interesting idea. I think fantasy, you need a certain amount of heart and emotion, and Christopher Nolan, when he's left to his own devices, doesn't really seem to have that. He works much better on sci-fi, stuff like Inception, stuff like Interstellar. That's much more his thing. Clearly, there's plenty of people who disagree with me, and that's fine. I like it when people go to the cinema, so that overall is a good thing. For example, as we see here in Deadline, The Odyssey extends run at Alex Theatre after becoming highest grossing 70mm exhibitor who had not screened a new movie in 35 years. Again, this is August 4th, 2026. Los Angeles historic Alex Theatre will continue to exhibit the fantasy epic through August 20th, 2026, following audience demand. The Odyssey was the first run movie at the theatre since Terminator 2 Judgment Day in 1991. The theatre recently underwent systems upgrades, including the installation of 70mm film projectors, which welcomed audiences to the special engagement of The Odyssey on July 17th. So they're actually investing money in showing new films. That's fantastic news. I think that's fantastic news. I really love going to the cinema. So the fact that other people seem to have decided they're willing to spend their money on this stuff, I really like that. We're incredibly grateful to the people of Los Angeles and to film lovers from across Southern California for making our presentation of The Odyssey such an extraordinary success. The response from audiences has been overwhelming and a wonderful reminder of how much people still value the shared experience of seeing a great film together. Yeah, the shared experience. I mean, it's fine seeing a movie at home. It's often more convenient, but there is something special sitting in the dark with a bunch of strangers watching a movie together. I don't know what it is, but I really, really like it. I'm happy that other people enjoy it as well. And obviously the cinema chains, they're going to be happy with it too. So here is the Hollywood Reporter. The box office is finally back. We're all breathing a hell of a lot easier after years of doom and gloom. Right, yeah, so doom and gloom, I guess financially doom and gloom, and also in terms of movies, doom and gloom as well. 2026 is on track to be the biggest year at the box office since the pandemic. The headlines over the last couple of years have been brutal. Box office doom loop, the movie theatre comeback that wasn't, the 2025 box office comeback that wasn't. Then came Project Hail Mary in March, Michael in April, Obsession in May, Backrooms, The Odyssey, Toy Story 5, Super Mario Galaxy movie. So far, 2026 is shaping up to be the strongest post-pandemic year at the box office to date, 15% ahead of the same point in 2025, with 5 movies approaching or crossing $1 billion globally. And then it goes on to talk about the other releases that are coming out, and the article then turns back to Spider-Man. One can speculate that a few other factors boosted Brand New Day. The film, directed by Destin Daniel Cretton, went for a relatively grounded vibe at a time when genre films that feel more realistic are registering with fans compared to fantastical efforts like Supergirl or Fantastic Four. Brand New Day also avoided the tired MacGuffin quest, where superheroes try to obtain or stop some magical object, and instead felt more character-driven. I think this is character-driven. That's an important point. So No Way Home, I mean, bringing together 3 Spider-Mans, it is kind of gimmicky, but at the end, Tom Holland's Spider-Man does actually make a genuine sacrifice. The character does actually change at the end of the movie. And I think that is part of what audiences responded to. A character who realizes that they're flawed, who realizes that they need to do something to give something up, There's so many movies that are just really poor at character. Here we are on MovieWeb, 10 biggest box office flops of the 2020s so far. I'm not going to talk about all of them, just a few to talk about why I think movies in the 2020s have often been so bad, what kind of mistakes that they've made. So, The Matrix Resurrections 2021, this one was particularly awful. The Matrix Resurrections attempted to resurrect the original story, slapping new faces onto old characters. That was literally all it was. It was the same movie, the same story, even with clips from the original Matrix movie and literally remaking it scene by scene by scene. It was one of the worst pieces of trash that I've ever actually watched, which is a shame because the first Matrix movie, that's one of my favorite movies, but The Matrix Resurrection was just absolute lazy slop and deserved to fail. Next one I'm going to talk about is The Flash 2023, lost $155 million. Miller's legal troubles. Yeah, if you don't know who Ezra Miller is, the kind of stuff that he allegedly got up to, it's pretty easy to Google. He doesn't seem like someone who should be around other human beings, to be honest. So I think this one was kind of scuppered. I mean, they do mention in here directorial changes. The COVID-19 pandemic kept delaying The Flash's release. I think the COVID-19 pandemic, that's a bit of an excuse that bad movies use. So The Flash was just a really poor story with the wrong lead actor. Okay, Mulan 2020 lost $166 million. The COVID-19 pandemic delayed this film's original release. Disney chose to release Mulan on Disney+, give it a limited theatrical release. I mean, I think if we have a look at the cast here, so we've got Yoson and Jet Li, Liu Yifei, there's clearly a lack of diversity in Mulan. It's clearly a lack of diversity, and audiences obviously rejected that. Turning Red, a Pixar movie from 2022. Turning Red attracted controversy when it first came out for addressing mature themes like puberty and periods. Why would Disney think that they are appropriate themes for a movie? I don't really understand. I mean, people want Spider-Man, they want Project Hail Mary, they want Michael, they want fun. They don't really want a Pixar movie about puberty. That's just a really weird idea to come out with. Joker Folie à Deux lost $200 million. Many viewers were turned off by the film's musical numbers and extensive courtroom scenes. Yeah, this like a musical Joker film, really weird. Just felt like nobody on the movie actually liked the movie either. That was very strange. And possibly the biggest flop of the 2020s, The Marvels lost $237 million. I mean, this is kind of an example of pushing forward with characters that just aren't that popular. This not so anticipated sequel, yeah, basically no one really wanted it, brings back Captain Marvel, unites her with two other characters with the Marvel alias, another Captain Marvel and one Ms. Marvel. The original film is the 11th highest grossing film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, grossing $1.1 billion worldwide. Yeah, and that's because it's sandwiched between Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. Once the Marvels have to stand on their own as characters, no one cares enough to go and spend their money. Then the article concludes, are you seeing a trend here? Many of the biggest bombs of the 2020s are superhero films. The same movies that ruled the box office not too long ago. It's not just DC movies that are bombing. Marvel is now producing flops too. Yeah, because they're just throwing out any rubbish. I mean, the people who are making the Spider-Man films, they're actually working on the characters. Deadpool and Wolverine, for example, was a success. They actually did some work on the characters. But as it says here, for the most part, it'll take fresh ideas, unique stories to get audiences interested in the superhero genre again. No, it'll just take writing decent movies, as Spider-Man Brand New Day shows, as The Odyssey shows. If you just make movies that are good, people will happily hand over their money. Thanks for watching.